I still remember the exact moment everything changed. I was standing in the parking lot of Green's hardware store, my hand on the driver's side door of my truck, when I saw her walk out with paint cans stacked in her arms like she was building a tower that might topple at any second. The late afternoon sun made everything look golden and hazy. The asphalt radiated heat even though it was September, and I could smell motor oil and freshly cut lumber from the store. She had dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail and wore paint-splattered overalls. When one of the cans started to slip, I jogged over without thinking. "Let me help you with that," I said, catching the can before it hit the ground. She looked at me with these sharp green eyes that seemed to see right through my offer of help to something deeper. "I had it under control." "I'm sure you did." I held onto the paint can anyway. "I'm Daniel, Maya." She didn't smile, but something in her expression softened. "You can carry that one to my car, if you insist on being helpful." That's how it started. Simple. Ordinary. Two people meeting in a hardware store parking lot in a town so small, everyone knew everyone else's business. I'd lived in Riverside my whole life. 28 years of the same faces and the same routines. I ran my father's auto repair shop after he passed, spending my days under hoods and covered in grease. It was honest work, but lonely work. My ex-girlfriend Sarah had left for the city 2 years before, saying she needed more than what this place could offer. I didn't blame her, but it still stung. Maya's car was an old sedan with rust creeping up from the wheel wells. I loaded the paint cans into her trunk. "You just moved here?" I asked. 2 weeks ago. I'm fixing up the old Brennan house on Maple Street." I knew the place. It had been empty for 5 years, slowly falling apart. "That's ambitious. That's one word for it." She closed the trunk with more force than necessary. "Most people use words like crazy or foolish." I was trying to be polite. She almost smiled then. Almost. "Thanks for the help, Daniel." I watched her drive away, and something in my chest felt different. Like a door I'd kept closed had cracked open just slightly. Over the next month I kept running into Maya. At the diner, where I ate breakfast every Saturday. At the hardware store again. At the gas station. Each time we talked a little longer. I learned she was a painter, the artistic kind, not the house kind, though she was doing plenty of both. She'd come to Riverside to escape something, though she never said what. She had this way of deflecting personal questions, with humor, or by turning the conversation back to me. "Why do you stay here?" she asked me one morning at the diner. We'd fallen into a routine of meeting there on Saturdays. The coffee was terrible, but the company had become essential. I stirred sugar into my cup, watching the crystals dissolve. "It's home. My dad built something here. Seemed wrong to abandon it." "That's duty talking, not desire." "Maybe duty is enough." She reached across the table and touched my hand, just briefly. Her fingers were stained with blue paint. "Or maybe you're afraid to want something more." The words hit harder than I expected, because they were true. I'd been playing it safe since Sarah left, staying in my lane, not taking risks. "What about you?" I asked. "What are you running from?" Her face changed, closing off. "Who says I'm running? People don't move to towns like this, unless they're running from something, or running towards something. You don't seem like the running toward type." She stood up, throwing money on the table. "I need to go." I'd pushed too hard. I watched her leave, that door in my chest starting to close again. But she texted me that night. Just 3 words. "Come see it." The Brennan house looked different. Maya had been working miracles. The porch was repaired, the shutters painted a deep blue that made the white siding pop. Inside, the floors had been refinished, and the walls were various stages of painted and unpainted. But what caught my attention were the canvases. Dozens of them, leaning against walls. Some finished, some barely started. They were dark and beautiful and unsettling. Abstract faces, twisted in emotion. I couldn't name. Landscapes that felt like memories of places that might not exist. "These are incredible," I said. Maya stood in the center of the room with her arms crossed, defensive. "They're from before." "Before what?" She was quiet for a long time. The house settled around us with small creaks and groans. Through the window, I could see fireflies starting to emerge in the overgrown backyard. "I was engaged," she finally said. "His name was Connor. We lived in the city, had a gallery showing my work, had plans. But he wanted me to paint differently, to make things that sold better, that fit what buyers wanted. We fought about it constantly. Then I found out he'd been seeing someone else, the daughter of a collector. Someone who could help his career. I'm sorry, don't be." The betrayal hurt less than realizing I'd already started compromising my art for him. that I'd lost myself trying to be what he wanted. She walked to one of the canvases, touched its edge. So I left everything, came here to figure out who I am when nobody's watching. I understood that more than I could explain. And have you? Figured it out? I'm getting there. She turned to look at me. You help. I help? You don't want me to be anything, except what I am. You don't have expectations. I crossed the room to stand beside her. Maybe I should have more expectations. Maybe we both should. She looked up at me, and this time when our hands touched, neither of us pulled away. We spent the next 3 months building something fragile and real. I helped her with the house repairs. I actually knew how to do plumbing and electrical. She painted in the evenings while I worked at the shop during the day. We talked about everything and nothing. She met my friends at the bar on Friday nights. I brought her coffee in the mornings before she woke up, leaving it on her porch. It felt like the beginning of something permanent. Then Connor showed up. It was early November, that kind of cold morning where frost clung to everything, and breath came out in clouds. I was at the shop when Maya called, her voice tight and strange. He's here. Connor's here. I dropped the wrench I was holding. I'm coming. He was standing in her living room like he belonged there, tall and polished, in a way that made me feel like grease under fingernails. He had that easy confidence of someone who'd never really struggled for anything. Daniel, Maya said when I walked in. This is Connor, the mechanic. Connor looked me over with barely concealed amusement. Maya's told me about you. She's told me about you too. I kept my voice level. Maya stood between us, tension radiating off her. Connor came to tell me that the Westfield Gallery wants to do a showing. They saw photos of my new work online. That's great, I said, though dread was already pooling in my stomach. In the city, Connor added, next month. It's a huge opportunity, career-making really. The way he said it made clear what he thought, that she'd be leaving, that this had all been temporary. Maya? I looked at her. I need to think about it. Her voice was barely a whisper. Connor smiled, satisfied. Of course. Take your time. I'm staying at the Riverside Inn if you want to discuss details. We have a lot to catch up on. After he left, the house felt smaller, colder. You should go, Maya said. I need to process this. Maya, please Daniel. Just for today. I left, but it felt like leaving pieces of myself scattered across her floor. She didn't call that night or the next day. On the third day, I couldn't take it anymore and drove to her house. Connor's rental car was in the driveway. I should have left. Instead, I knocked. Maya answered, looking exhausted. Daniel, this isn't a good time. Is he why you're avoiding me? I'm not avoiding you. I'm thinking about going back. It wasn't a question. Connor appeared behind her. She's thinking about her career, about not throwing away an opportunity because of a 3-month relationship in the middle of nowhere. Let me talk to him, Maya said to Connor. I'll wait inside. He retreated, but slowly, making a point. Maya stepped onto the porch, closing the door. The cold bit through my jacket. This is complicated. It's only complicated if you make it complicated. Do you want to go back to him? It's not about him. It's about my work, my art. This is what I came here to find. The courage to paint what I want. And now people want to see it. Real galleries, real buyers. You can do that here. You don't need the city. You don't need him. You don't understand. Frustration bled into her voice. I've worked my entire life for this kind of recognition. You're asking me to choose between you and everything I've dreamed of. I'm asking you to choose yourself. The self you found here, not the one he wants you to be. That's not fair. Maybe not. But it's true. We stood there in the cold, and I could see her wavering, torn. Part of me wanted to fight harder, to convince her. But another part, the part that had learned something from her about being true to yourself, knew I couldn't make this choice for her. I love you, I said. I should have said it before, but I was scared. I'm saying it now. I love who you are, who you've become here, but I can't compete with your dreams, and I won't ask you to give them up for me. Tears were running down her face. Daniel, go to the showing, see what it's like, but go for you, not for him. And then decide what you really want. I walked away before she could respond, before I could break down. The next week was the longest of my life. Maya didn't call. I threw myself into work, staying at the shop until late every night, sleeping in the office some nights. My friends tried to talk to me, but I had nothing to say. Then, on a Friday night, someone knocked on the shop door. I almost didn't answer. I was covered in grease, exhausted, not fit for company, but I opened it. Maya stood there with snowflakes catching in her hair. It had started snowing, the first real snow of winter, and the world looked clean and new. I told him no, she said. I told the gallery no too. My heart stopped. Maya, you can't give up your career for... I'm not giving it up. I'm choosing where I want to build it. Connor wanted me to come back and paint what sells. The gallery wanted me to move to the city, be available for events and showings. They wanted to own me. She stepped closer. But I finally understand what you saw that first day. I had it under control. I have it under control now. I can paint here. I can show my work on my terms. And I can build a life with someone who loves me for exactly who I am. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. She reached up and touched my face, her hand cold from the weather. I came here to find myself. What I found was home. And you. I pulled her inside, into the warmth, into my arms. The snow fell harder outside, covering everything in white, and for the first time in years, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I love you too, she said against my chest. I should have said it sooner. You're saying it now. That's what matters. We stood there in my shop surrounded by tools and the smell of motor oil. And it was perfect. Not because it was romantic or ideal, but because it was real, because it was us. Maya moved her studio into the space above the shop. We fixed it up together, big windows letting in northern light, enough room for her canvases, and my occasional need to escape the noise below. She painted and I worked, and somehow we made it work. She had showings, but regional ones, on her terms. She built a reputation slowly, authentically. Connor tried to reach out a few times, but she never responded. That chapter was closed. On a Saturday morning 6 months later, we were back at the diner with terrible coffee and good company. Snow was falling again outside, gentle and steady. What are you thinking about? Maya asked. I watched the snow, thought about how far we'd both come, that sometimes running away brings you exactly where you need to be. She smiled, real and warm and unguarded. And sometimes staying put is the bravest thing you can do. I reached across the table and took her paint-stained hand. We're both right. We usually are. Outside, the snow kept falling, covering the small town in white. Inside, we sat together, two people who'd found home in each other. In this place, in the life we were building one day at a time. It wasn't the life either of us had planned, but it was better than anything we could have imagined. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. I proposed to Maya on a Tuesday, which she later said was the most perfectly us thing I could have done. No grand gesture, no restaurant or scenic overlook. Just the two of us in her studio above the shop. Late afternoon, light streaming through the windows, her hands covered in cadmium red. She was working on a piece for a collector in Portland, some tech entrepreneur, who'd seen him work online and wanted something for his office. The painting was massive, 6 feet tall, all swirling oranges and deep blues, that somehow felt like sunrise and grief at the same time. What do you think? She asked, stepping back to look at it. I wasn't looking at the painting. I was looking at her, the way she tilted her head when she studied her work. The small furrow between her eyebrows, the paint smudge on her cheek, she didn't know was there. I think you should marry me. She turned slowly, brush still in her hand. What? I didn't have a ring, hadn't planned this. But suddenly, it felt like the only thing that made sense. Marry me, Maya. Build this life with me permanently, legally, in every way that matters. Daniel. She set the brush down carefully on her palette. Are you serious? I've never been more serious about anything. I crossed to her, took her paint-stained hands in mine. I know it's Tuesday. I know I don't have a ring. I know this isn't romantic or planned. But I love you, and I want forever with you, and I don't want to wait for the perfect moment, because every moment with you is already perfect. She kissed me then, leaving red paint smeared across both our faces, and whispered yes against my lips. We got married 3 months later in Maya's backyard, the one that had been overgrown with weeds when she first arrived. Now it was a garden, wildflowers, and vegetables growing in organized chaos. It was April, everything blooming, the air sweet with lilac and fresh earth. Small wedding, just close friends, and my mother who cried through the entire ceremony. Maya wore a simple white dress she'd found at a vintage shop in the next town over. I wore the only suit I owned, the one I'd bought for my father's funeral and hadn't worn since. My best friend Marcus stood up with me. Maya's sister flew in from Seattle, the only family member she'd invited. They had a complicated relationship, but Maya said marriage felt like the right time to start mending things. The ceremony was short. We'd written our own vows. I went first, my hands shaking slightly as I held hers. Maya, you taught me that staying still isn't the same as standing still, that roots can grow deep without turning into chains. You showed me that love doesn't mean compromising who you are, it means becoming more yourself. I promise to support your art, your dreams, your stubborn independence. I promise to bring you coffee in the morning and listen when you need to talk about color theory at midnight. I promise to love you exactly as you are, for as long as we both live. She was crying before I finished. She wiped her eyes, smearing her carefully applied makeup, and laughed. You're going to make me ruin my eyeliner. You're beautiful anyway. Flattery won't save you from your turn. She squeezed my hands and took a breath. Daniel, before you, I thought freedom meant being alone. You taught me that real freedom is being fully seen and fully accepted. You gave me space to find myself and a home to return to. I promise to be your partner in this quiet life we're building. I promise to paint you into every canvas, even when you can't see it. I promise to choose you every day, not because I have to, but because I want to. Because loving you is the easiest and best decision I've ever made. When the officiant, our friend who'd gotten ordained online specifically for this, pronounced us married, everyone cheered. Marcus popped champagne. Maya's sister hugged us both. My mother sobbed happily. We danced in the grass as the sun set. No band, just a Bluetooth speaker playing an old folk song Maya loved. I held her close and breathed in the smell of her hair, felt the solid reality of her in my arms. Mrs. Thompson, I said. She decided to take my name, said it felt like claiming this new life fully. That's going to take some getting used to. We had time, all the time in the world. The first year of marriage was everything people warned us about, and nothing like they said. We fought about small things, stupid things, whether to paint the kitchen yellow or green, how often to visit my mother, my tendency to leave tools scattered around the house, her habit of starting projects and leaving them half-finished. But we also laughed more than I thought possible, built routines that felt like us. Sunday mornings in bed, reading different books, Wednesday night dinners at the diner, monthly trips to the city for gallery visits and supplies, holding hands on the drive back, both of us glad to see Riverside's lights appearing in the distance. Maya's career grew steadily, not explosive success, but sustainable, real. She got a profile in a regional arts magazine. A small gallery in Boston asked to represent her. She sold enough paintings to contribute equally to our bills, which mattered to her more than I understood at first. I need to know I can support myself, she explained one night. Not because I don't trust us, but because I need to trust me. I got that. Had my own version of it with the shop. The pride of keeping my father's legacy alive while making it my own. Then, 2 years into our marriage, Maya missed her period. We sat on the bathroom floor waiting for the test results, neither of us speaking. 3 minutes felt like 3 hours. The tile was cold beneath us. Through the window, I could hear someone mowing their lawn, the sound ordinary and grounding. The timer on her phone went off. Maya picked up the test with shaking hands. It's positive. We stared at each other. This wasn't planned. We'd talked about kids someday, in the abstract way people do, but someday had always felt distant and hypothetical. Are you okay? I asked. I don't know. She set the test down carefully. Are you? I don't know either. We sat there in our uncertainty, holding hands, and somehow that felt right. We'd figure it out together, just like everything else. The pregnancy was hard. Maya had morning sickness that lasted all day for the first 4 months. She couldn't stand the smell of paint thinner, which meant she couldn't work in her usual medium. She cried about it constantly, felt like she was losing herself again. What if I can't paint anymore? She asked one night, curled up on the couch. What if the baby takes everything from me? That won't happen. I sat beside her, pulled her close. You're still you, this is just a season. You don't know that. You're right, I don't, but I know you, and I know you'll find a way. She did. She started working in watercolors, which didn't have the same harsh smells. The paintings were different from her usual work, softer somehow, but no less powerful. She painted what she called her waiting series, images of doorways and windows and horizons, all about the space between one thing and another. A gallery in New York wanted 3 of them. Maya cried when she got the email, happy tears this time. Our daughter was born on a snowy January night, 3 years into our marriage. We named her Rose, after my grandmother. She had Maya's eyes, and my stubborn chin. She was perfect and terrifying, and I fell in love the moment I held her. Maya looked exhausted and radiant in the hospital bed. We made a person. We did. What do we do now? I have no idea. We brought Rose home to the house that Maya had fixed up, the one that had been falling apart when she first arrived. Now it was full of life. Plants in every window, paintings on every wall, toys scattered across the floor within weeks. The first months were brutal. Neither of us slept more than 2 hours at a stretch. The shop suffered because I couldn't focus. Maya couldn't paint at all, was too exhausted, too consumed by feeding schedules and diaper changes, and the overwhelming responsibility of keeping the tiny human alive. We fought more. Sharp words at 3 in the morning, when Rose wouldn't stop crying, resentment creeping in around the edges. Maya felt trapped. I felt inadequate. We were drowning together, and couldn't figure out how to help each other. One night, when Rose was 4 months old, I found Maya sobbing in the nursery. Rose was finally asleep in her crib. Maya sat on the floor, her back against the wall, tears streaming down her face. I sat down beside her. Talk to me. I love her so much it terrifies me, but I also miss who I was. I miss painting. I miss sleeping. I miss conversations that aren't about feeding schedules and pediatrician appointments. I miss us. She turned to look at me. Does that make me a terrible mother? It makes you human. I put my arm around her. I miss us too. What do? We figure it out, like we always do. We started making changes. My mother, who'd been offering to help since Rose was born, started coming over twice a week, so Maya could paint. I hired someone part-time at the shop, so I could be home more. We instituted date night once a month, even if it was just sitting on the back porch after Rose went to sleep, drinking wine, and remembering how to talk to each other. It got better slowly. Rose started sleeping longer stretches. Maya found a rhythm, painting during naps and after bedtime, working in shorter bursts, but with the same intensity. I learned to be a better partner, to see when Maya needed space, and when she needed support. Rose turned 1, then 2. She was a tornado of energy, curious about everything, talking constantly. She loved watching Maya paint, would sit quietly for surprisingly long stretches, her own paper and crayons beside her, mimicking her mother's movements. She's going to be an artist, Maya said, watching our daughter scribble with intense concentration. Or a mechanic, I countered. Rose also loved the shop, loved sitting on my lap in the office chair, pretending to answer the phone and take orders. She can be both. She can be anything. Life settled into a new normal. Not the life we'd imagined before Rose, but something richer and more complicated. The shop continued to do well. Maya's career kept growing. We bought the building the shop was in when the owner wanted to sell, give ourselves security and permanence. Then, when Rose was 3, the phone call came. I was at the shop, under a truck, when my cell rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Is this Daniel Thompson? Yes. This is Karen Mills from Apex Automotive. We're a national chain looking to expand in this region. We'd like to talk to you about purchasing your business. I slid out from under the truck, my heart pounding. I'm not interested in selling. We're prepared to make a very generous offer. This could be an excellent opportunity for you financially. I said, I'm not interested. But she kept talking, gave me numbers that made my head spin. Enough money to retire early, to travel, to give Rose everything she could ever want. Enough to buy Maya a real studio, not just the space above the shop. Just think about it, Karen said. I'll email you the details. I hung up feeling like the ground had shifted beneath me. That night I told Maya about the offer. We sat at the kitchen table after Rose was in bed, the house quiet around us. That's a lot of money, Maya said slowly. It is. But you don't want to sell. The shop is my father's legacy. It's mine now. It's part of who I am. She reached across the table and took my hand. I know. But I also know you've been working 70-hour weeks trying to keep up with everything. I see how tired you are. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're exhausted. And this could give you options. Give us options. Rose won't be little forever. Don't you want to spend more time with her? The question hit hard. Because yes, I did. I hated missing bedtimes because I was at the shop. Hated being too tired on weekends to really play with her. What if I lose myself? I asked. What if, without the shop, I don't know who I am? Maya smiled softly. Then you'll figure it out. Like I did. Like we both have. Over and over. You think I should sell. I think you should consider it. Really consider it. Not for the money, but for what it could mean for your life. Our life. You've been holding on to your father's legacy so tightly. Maybe it's time to create your own. I spent 2 weeks wrestling with the decision. Talked to Marcus, to my mother, to the guys who worked for me. Everyone had opinions. Some thought I'd be crazy to sell. Others thought I'd be crazy not to. In the end, it was Rose who decided it for me. She was helping me in the shop on a Saturday, her little tool belt around her waist, her toy hammer in her hand. I was showing her how to check oil levels, letting her hold the dipstick. "Daddy," she said, looking up at me with those serious eyes that were so much like Maya's, "are you happy?" The question surprised me. "What do you mean, sweetheart? Mommy says you work too much, that you're tired. Are you happy?" Out of the mouths of children. I looked around the shop, at the business my father had built, and I'd maintained. I loved it, but Maya was right. It was consuming me. I was maintaining a legacy instead of living my life. "I'm happy when I'm with you and Mommy," I said honestly. "Then maybe you should do that more." Simple wisdom from a 3-year-old. I called Karen Mills the next day and started negotiations. It took 2 months to finalize everything, to make sure my employees would be taken care of, to ensure the shop would continue to serve the community my father had loved. The day I signed the papers, I felt lighter and more terrified than I'd been since the day Rose was born. Maya held my hand through the entire meeting. Afterward, we drove to the cemetery where my father was buried. I stood at his grave with Maya beside me. "I hope I did the right thing, Dad. I hope you understand. The shop was your dream, and I'm grateful I got to be part of it. But I need to find my own now." Maya squeezed my hand. "He'd be proud of you for knowing when to hold on and when to let go." With the money from the sale, we made changes. We traveled for the first time as a family, took Rose to the ocean, to the mountains, to places Maya and I had only dreamed about. We bought a bigger house, one with a separate studio for Maya, with perfect light, and enough space for her to work on multiple pieces at once. And I started to figure out what came next for me. I'd always been good with my hands, good at fixing things, but I realized I didn't need to run a business to do that. I started volunteering, teaching basic car maintenance to single parents and low-income families. I worked with a nonprofit that fixed up donated cars for people who needed transportation. It wasn't about profit. It was about service, about using my skills to help people. And for the first time in years, work felt meaningful in a different way. "You're glowing," Maya said one night. We were on the back porch, Rose asleep upstairs, stars scattered across the sky, like paint flecks. "Am I?" "You are. You look free." "I feel free." "Is that strange? I spent so long thinking the shop defined me. Now that it's gone, I feel more like myself than ever." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "That's not strange. That's growth. You taught me that." We taught each other. We sat in comfortable silence, the kind that comes from years of knowing someone, of building a life together through all its complications and joys. "I have something to tell you," Maya said after a while. I felt my stomach flip. Should I be worried? No, maybe. I don't know. She sat up, turned to face me. "I'm pregnant again." Time stopped. "You're sure?" "Very sure. About 8 weeks. How do you feel about it?" "Terrified. Excited. Overwhelmed. All of it at once." She searched my face. "How do you feel?" I thought about our life, about Rose, about the chaos and beauty of the last 3 years. About how hard it had been and how worth it. About how we'd survived and grown and become better versions of ourselves. "I feel ready," I said. "Scared, but ready. We know what we're doing this time." "Do we?" "No, but we'll figure it out." She laughed. That real laugh I'd fallen in love with years ago. We always do. Our son was born that winter, during a cold snap that froze the pipes and covered everything in ice. We named him Henry, after Maya's grandfather. He was calm where Rose had been chaotic, easy where she'd been difficult. Or maybe we were just better at this the second time around. Rose was fascinated by her brother, wanted to help with everything. She'd sit beside Maya during feedings, telling Henry stories, showing him her drawings. My heart broke open in new ways watching my daughter become a big sister. Life got busier and more full. 2 kids meant less sleep, less time for ourselves, less of everything except love and chaos, and moments that took my breath away. Rose started preschool. Henry learned to smile, then laugh, then crawl. Maya's work continued to evolve, her paintings now including more life, more light, more joy, mixed with the darkness. "They're different," she said one day, studying a new piece. "Softer. Is that bad?" "I don't know. They're less raw, less angry." "You're less angry. That's not a bad thing." She considered this. "Maybe I'm afraid I'm losing my edge. That happiness makes me less interesting as an artist. Or maybe you're discovering that joy can be just as complex as pain, that contentment has its own depths to explore." She kissed me then, long and deep. "When did you get so wise?" I married a philosopher who happens to paint. The years accumulated like brushstrokes, each one adding to the picture of our life. Rose turned 6, then 7. Henry started walking, then talking. The house was never clean, never quiet. I coached Rose's soccer team. Maya taught art classes at the community center. We went to parent-teacher conferences and school plays and birthday parties. It was ordinary and extraordinary, all at once. One evening, 10 years after I'd first helped Maya with her paint cans in that parking lot, we stood in her studio looking at her latest painting. She'd been working on it for months, kept it covered, wouldn't let anyone see it until it was finished. Now the cover was off. The painting showed a parking lot at golden hour. A man and woman talking over paint cans, their faces blurred, but their body language speaking of possibility, of new beginnings. In the background, you could see the faint outlines of a house, a shop, 2 small children playing. Past and present and future all layered together. It's us, I said quietly. It's us. Every version of us. The people we were when we met. The people we are now. The people we're becoming. It's beautiful. It's finished. She turned to me. I think this is the last one in this series. I'm ready to paint something new. What? I don't know yet. That's the exciting part. I pulled her close, breathing in the smell of paint and her shampoo, feeling the solid reality of her in my arms. Through the studio windows I could see our house, lights glowing warm in the evening darkness. Rose was probably reading in her room. Henry was definitely making some kind of mess. This was our life, built piece by piece from nothing, from chance meetings and hard choices and stubborn love. Thank you, I said. For what? For staying. For choosing this. For building this life with me. She pulled back to look at me, her eyes bright. Thank you for giving me a life worth choosing. Downstairs we heard a crash followed by Henry's laugh, and Rose yelling. Real life calling us back. Maya grinned. Duty calls. Ready? Always. We went down together, hand in hand, into the beautiful chaos of the life we'd made. And it was enough. More than enough. It was everything. The headaches started when Rose was 12, and Henry was 9. Maya thought they were stress at first. Migraines brought on by preparing for her first major solo exhibition in Chicago. She'd been working harder than usual, longer hours, pushing herself to create something exceptional. Maybe you should see a doctor, I said one morning, watching her squint against the sunlight coming through the kitchen window. It's just tension. I'll be fine once the show is over. But they didn't stop after the show. They got worse. The doctor ordered tests. CT scan first, then an MRI. I held Maya's hand in the waiting room, both of us pretending not to be terrified. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. A television in the corner played morning news. Nobody was watching. Dr. Patel called us into her office 3 days later. The look on her face told me everything before she said a word. I'm so sorry. The scan shows a mass in your brain. We'll need more tests to determine exactly what we're dealing with. But I'm referring you to an oncologist. The word oncologist hit like a physical blow. Maya's hand went cold in mine. Cancer? Maya's voice was barely a whisper. We don't know for certain yet, but we need to move quickly. The next weeks were a blur of appointments and specialists in medical terms I didn't understand. Glioblastoma, they finally told us. Grade 4. Aggressive. The oncologist was kind but honest when we asked about prognosis. With treatment, the median survival time is 12 to 18 months. Maya asked the question I couldn't, and without treatment, a few months, maybe less. We sat in the car in a hospital parking lot afterward, neither of us moving. It was spring, everything blooming, the world indifferent to our devastation. I can't die, Maya said. Rose needs me. Henry needs me. You need me. You're not going to die. The words felt hollow even as I said them. We'll fight this. We'll do everything. She turned to look at me, tears streaming down her face. Daniel, you heard what they said. I don't care what they said. We're not giving up. We told Rose and Henry that night. Sat them down in the living room, both of us trying to hold ourselves together. Rose was old enough to understand. I watched her face crumble as Maya explained. Watched my daughter try to be brave. Henry was confused. But Mom's not sick. She doesn't look sick. Not all sickness looks the same, buddy, I said, pulling him onto my lap. But she's going to get better, right? The doctors will fix it? Maya and I looked at each other. The doctors are going to try very hard, Maya said carefully. Rose stood up abruptly. I need to be alone. She ran to her room before either of us could stop her. I found her an hour later, curled up on her bed, her face red from crying. I lay down beside her, put my arm around her. "It's not fair," she said. "No, it's not. Why, Mom? She's good. She doesn't deserve this." "Nobody deserves this, sweetheart. Sometimes terrible things just happen." "I'm scared, Dad." "Me too." We started treatment immediately. Surgery first to remove as much of the tumor as they could. I held Maya's hand until they took her back, kissed her forehead, told her I loved her. The surgery took 8 hours. I paced the waiting room, drank terrible coffee, called my mother and Maya's sister. Marcus came and sat with me, not saying much, just being there. When the surgeon finally came out, he looked tired. We removed most of the tumor, but not all of it. Some was too close to critical areas. She'll need radiation and chemotherapy. But she's okay. She made it through. She's in recovery. You can see her soon. Maya looked so small in the hospital bed, her head bandaged, tubes and monitors everywhere. But she opened her eyes when I took her hand. "Hey," she whispered. "Hey yourself. Is it over?" I wished I could say yes. "This part is. You did great." I can't feel the left side of my face. The doctor said that might happen. It should come back. She closed her eyes. A tear slid down her cheek. "I'm so tired, Daniel." "Then rest. I'm right here." The radiation and chemotherapy were brutal. Maya lost her hair, lost weight, was constantly exhausted, and nauseous. She tried to keep painting, but her hands shook, her vision blurred. I watched the frustration and fear eat at her. "I can't even do this anymore," she said one day, throwing her brush across the studio. "I can't make my hands do what my brain wants. Everything comes out wrong. It's temporary. Once treatment is done, don't." Her voice was sharp. "Don't give me false hope. We both know this isn't temporary." She was right, and we both knew it. The tumor was still growing, despite everything. The doctors added more aggressive treatment, talked about experimental trials, but I could see the doubt in their eyes. Maya lasted 6 months after the diagnosis. 6 months of fighting and hoping and slowly losing ground. She got weaker. The headaches came back worse than before. She started having seizures. Near the end she had trouble speaking, finding words. We moved her hospital bed into our bedroom when she couldn't manage stairs anymore. Hospice nurses came daily. Rose and Henry adjusted to this new reality with heartbreaking resilience, doing homework beside their mother's bed, telling her about their days even when she couldn't respond. One evening in October, the leaves turning gold and red outside our window, Maya had a moment of clarity. She'd been confused for days, not always knowing where she was or who we were, but suddenly her eyes focused on me. "Daniel." Her voice was thin but clear. "I'm here." I took her hand. "I need to tell you something. Anything. Don't stop living." She squeezed my hand weakly. "After I'm gone, don't stop. Promise me, Maya." "Promise." "I promise. And the kids, help them remember me. The real me, not just the sick version. They could never forget you." "I'm scared." Her eyes filled with tears. "I'm not ready to go. There's so much I still want to do. I want to see Rose graduate. I want to teach Henry to drive. I want to grow old with you." I climbed into the bed beside her, held her carefully. "I know. I'm not ready either. I love you. I've loved you since that first day in the parking lot. Even when I was too scared to admit it. I love you too." Always she fell asleep in my arms. I held her through the night, feeling each breath, memorizing the weight of her, the smell of her, the reality of her still being here. She died 3 days later, early morning, with me holding her hand. Rose and Henry were there too. We'd called them in when Maya's breathing changed, when we knew it was time. It was peaceful at the end. No dramatic last words or final declarations. She simply took a breath and didn't take another. The hospice nurse checked her pulse, looked at us with compassionate eyes. "She's gone. I'm so sorry." Rose sobbed. Henry stood frozen, not understanding. I pulled them both close, all of us breaking apart together. The funeral was packed. Maya had touched so many lives through her art, her teaching, her simple presence in the community. People told stories about her kindness and talent, and stubborn determination. The local gallery displayed her paintings, including the one of us in the parking lot, that first moment that had changed everything. I couldn't speak at the service, couldn't find words big enough to contain what Maya had meant, what we'd lost. Rose read a poem she'd written. My mother spoke about how Maya had brought light into my life. Maya's sister broke down halfway through her eulogy. We buried her in the cemetery next to my father. It felt right somehow, bringing her into my family permanently, even in death. The weeks after were hollow. I went through motions, made meals I didn't taste, drove the kids to school, returned to the volunteer work that had once felt meaningful, that now felt pointless. Everything felt pointless. Rose retreated into her room, into schoolwork and books, building walls around her grief. Henry cried constantly, basked when mommy was coming home, even though he'd been there, had seen her die. How do you explain death to a 9-year-old when you can barely comprehend it yourself? My mother moved in for a while to help. Marcus checked on us daily. Maya's sister called every week. People brought casseroles and condolences, and I appreciated it but also resented it. Their lives continued normally, while mine had ended. 3 months after Maya died, Rose found me in the garage at midnight. I was sitting in my truck, not going anywhere, just sitting in the dark. She opened the passenger door and climbed in. I can't sleep, me either. I keep thinking I hear her, in the studio upstairs. Sometimes I forget she's gone, and I almost call for her. I do that too. We sat in silence. Finally, Rose said, "Are we going to be okay?" The question I'd been avoiding. The honest answer was, I didn't know. But I remembered my promise to Maya. Eventually, I said, "Not now, maybe not for a long time, but eventually." "How do you know?" "Because your mother made me promise not to stop living, and she made you and Henry reasons to keep going." Rose started crying, the kind of deep sobs she'd been holding back. I pulled her close, let her broke apart with her. We cried together in the truck until we were both exhausted. "I miss her so much," Rose whispered. "Me too, sweetheart, me too." 6 months after Maya died, I finally went into her studio. I'd been avoiding it, couldn't bear to see her unfinished work, the life interrupted. But Rose asked me to help her find one of her mother's sketchbooks, and I couldn't say no. The studio was exactly as Maya had left it. Half-finished canvases, brushes still in jars, sketches pinned to the walls. I stood in the center of the room and felt the absence of her like a physical ache. On her easel was a painting I'd never seen. She must have started it just before the headaches got too bad. It showed our house at night, windows glowing, and in the foreground 4 figures. Maya, me, Rose, Henry. But Maya's figure was translucent, fading, becoming part of the sky, part of the stars. She'd known. Even then, she'd known she was leaving. I broke down completely, sobbing in her studio, surrounded by the evidence of her talent and her life, and everything we'd lost. Rose found me there. She looked at the painting and started crying too. We held each other, grief overwhelming us both. "She was saying goodbye," Rose said. "Yeah, I think she was. What do we do with all of this? Her paintings, her supplies." I looked around the studio. "We keep it, for now. Maybe someday you'll want to paint here, or maybe we'll turn it into something else. But not yet. Not while it still feels like she might walk in any moment." Life continued, because it had to. Rose went to middle school, navigated adolescence without her mother. Henry went to therapy, learned to process his grief. I kept volunteering, kept showing up for my kids, kept putting one foot in front of the other because I'd promised Maya I would. But everything was dimmer now. Food had less taste, colors were less bright. Joy felt guilty, like betraying her memory by feeling anything other than sadness. A year after Maya died, on the anniversary of her death, we went to the cemetery together. Rose brought flowers. Henry brought a drawing he'd made. I brought nothing but my grief, still raw and overwhelming. "Do you think she knows we're here?" Henry asked. "I think if there's any way she can know, she does," I said. "I'm forgetting what her voice sounded like," Rose admitted quietly. "I hate that I'm forgetting." "We can watch them tonight if you want." "Yeah, I'd like that." We stood at her grave, this family she'd made, and then left behind, and I felt the unfairness of it, all crushing me. She deserved more time. We deserved more time with her. But I also remembered what she'd said that last clear evening. Don't stop living. So we wouldn't. We'd carry this grief, this enormous absence, but we'd carry it forward into life, because that's what she wanted. We'd keep her memory alive through stories and paintings and the way we moved through the world. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough, but it was what we had. That night, we watched old videos of Maya. Her laugh, her voice, the way she moved. Rose and Henry curled up on either side of me on the couch. We cried and we laughed and we remembered. "I still love her," Henry said. "Love doesn't stop just because someone dies." I told him, "She's still your mother. She always will be." "Do you think you'll ever be happy again, Dad?" Rose asked. I considered lying, giving her the easy answer. But Maya had always valued honesty. "I don't know," I admitted. "Happy feels like a foreign country right now. But maybe someday I'll feel something close to it. Maybe we all will. Your mother would want that for us." "She would," Rose agreed. We fell asleep there on the couch together, the 3 of us, Maya's voice still echoing from the paused video. frozen mid-laugh, forever young, forever here, and forever gone. In the morning, I woke to find Rose and Henry still sleeping. I extricated myself carefully, went to the kitchen to make coffee. Through the window, I could see the garden Maya had planted, overgrown now, but still blooming. Wildflowers and vegetables growing in organized chaos, just like she'd intended. Wife goes on. That was the terrible, beautiful truth. The sun still rose, the flowers still bloomed, the world kept turning, even when your world had stopped. I poured my coffee and stood at the window, watching the dawn light illuminate the garden, and I let myself cry again. I cried for Maya, for us, for all the tomorrows we'd never have. I cried until I was empty. Then I dried my eyes and started breakfast for my kids. Because Maya had made me promise not to stop living, and I'd never broken a promise to her.